Hello, fam, and welcome back to Cat on the Go. We're getting back into Minecraft. This looks weird. It looked weird for a second, but it's just my angle. Just my aspect ratio. I think it's still on pro. It's on pro. I'm not a pro. It's just on wide because I have a very wide. So I moved recently, and when I moved, I didn't bring my monitor with me. I only brought my computer because so I had a dual monitor setup. I had two monitors. They were both cheap. One of them I found on the street for free, and the other one I bought at Goodwill for $15. Which the one that I found on the street, replaced a CRT. Oh, he grew up. A CRT that I had. So the big fat ones that I got at so someone was basically going to give it to Goodwill. It wasn't Goodwill, it was a place called Scrap, which is basically Goodwill for stuff that can't go to Goodwill. Not exactly, there's stuff that Scrap won't take, of course. Look how many fish there are. I think some of those are baby. That's so adorable. Anyway, so Scrap is this place in San Francisco where it's basically, I think it's run by the city, and it's a place, it started out as a place where people could put just random stuff, and it was for teachers who wanted art supplies. They could go and buy art supplies, and you actually get a discount if you're a teacher or in the teaching profession. It should be free for teachers but whatevs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I'm getting distracted. Anyway, when I was going to Scrap because I was looking for monitors, because I made my setup, and then I realized that I had spent all my budget making the computer, and I had no budget left over to buy the monitor and buy any other accessories. Basically, the monitor. Well, yeah, that's all I really needed was the monitor. I had a keyboard, I had a mouse, and stuff like that. I just needed a monitor. But I didn't have any leftover budget for a monitor, so I was stuck. But I went to Scrap, and someone happened to be trying to donate their monitor. And they hadn't gone in to, see if the people wanted it. It was just in the back, and if they Scrap didn't take it in, they were gonna give it to they were gonna go to the e-recycler and give it there. But I was like, oh, this is perfect, I need a monitor, and you have a monitor, would you mind giving it to me? And they were like, oh no, I didn't even start like that. I was just like, oh, that's such a cool monitor. And then we started talking. I was like, oh, I'm going in to look for a monitor. And then she was like, well, I don't even know if it works. But if it works, if you want to see if it works or not, you can have it. And basically, that's how I got my first monitor for my computer. I just got it out of this person's car, and it did work. And I had a 15-inch CRT monitor. It was not a big thing. It's basically the standard size of a CRT monitor. And I used that for several years or months, I can't remember, but maybe a year. But yeah, it was just this little monitor. So I had this fancy, what I considered fancy. It wasn't very fancy, but I had this new gaming rig that ran off a CRT monitor because I didn't leave budget in for a monitor. Which is also why I talk in the video about the fact that you need to, remember all the other stuff, like a monitor, an operating system, stuff like that. I didn't even remember to buy an operating system. The first time I booted up my computer, I was like, why isn't it running past the boot screen? And then I realized, oh crap, I need an operating system. And I thought of going to Linux because, like, I didn't budget in operating system because, you know, first build. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. But, you know, if I didn't budget in, I didn't want to mess with, I didn't particularly want to mess around with Linux. Like, I have messed around with Linux in the past. I am capable of using Linux. It's just Linux is... It's a process. It's, you need to want to use Linux to use Linux. You have to be dedicated to Linux to fully utilize it. And you have to be willing to find alternative apps constantly and find, you know, modifying apps. So, like, make, like, apps that modify other apps so that you can, you know, do the things you do. You don't necessarily need to be, like, very good at coding anymore. There was a time where if you were going to, you know, be using Linux, you had to be able to, you know, write code. And I can write code, but I'm not proficient in code. I've taken, you know, 1 or 2 coding classes. I can code a little bit in Java and a little bit in Python. But, you know, I can't code in C, but I could probably learn. But, you know, I'm just now talking in circles. But anyway, Java's work. I mean, Python, well, everything's work. Anyway, Linux is a lot more work, and you also have to, like, choose which Linux system you want, and there's a billion different Linux, like, systems. Someone explained it once, like, Linux isn't an operating system, it's a core, and, like, you can have a lot of different versions of that core because a bunch of different people will code for it. So, like, the version of Linux I used was, like, Linda. I'm pretty sure it was Linda. But there's other ones, like, I don't know. I don't even know if Linda was actually the one I used, but, like, Linux Pi or UPi, or there's a lot of different versions of Linux out there. And they all work differently, and just because a program works on, and I think if, like, programs work on one type of Linux, they'll usually work on the rest, but sometimes there's exceptions, and you just need to know a bunch of information and be good at, like, at the very least, you have to be good at working within, I don't even know the terms, within, like, the what the fuck is it called? You know the black bar that you get sometimes when you're, like, doing, like, some advanced stuff on your operating system? It's called something different on all the different things. But basically, you need to be able to, like, you need to know your computer better than I do. Like, I know my computer, I built it, but I'm not I'm lazy. I don't want to have to constantly be working at, like, things that would normally be simple. So all of this big thing is I went for Windows. And there's actually a Windows store in the downtown of where I lived, so I was able to go downtown and pick up a physical copy of Windows 10, because it wasn't that long ago that I built the rig. So I picked up a physical copy of Windows 10, and it came on a, like, absolutely absurdly small USB. Actually, can't remember if it was absurdly tall. No, it wasn't. It was a regular size USB. It was just a little thing. My friend, though, had an absurdly small USB. It was like barely larger than the size of the port. It was basically just the USB, like the thing that stuck into the computer was longer than the actual USB part. It was just very small, and it was like 64 gigs or something. 64? Yeah, 64 gigs or something. It was like a crazy, like, large thing, and she was like, I want this to be bigger just so I don't lose it, which I thought was hilarious. It was just like, technology has gone to the, USBs have gone to the point where it is no longer, I want something smaller, it is, I want something bigger just so I don't lose it. Which is hilarious. But yeah. I'm getting pretty good with this. So we have sheep, we have cows, we have pigs. We don't really need to put any more of the animals from outside in here if we don't want to. It'll just, you know, make the process, it'll just speed up the process if we get outside animals. But it'll get there regardless of how many outside animals we get. But yeah, the only one, no, we can't bring the cows yet. We've already bring the cows. Okay, the only one that, like, I think we have around here that I haven't gotten yet is sheep. I mean, not sheep, we have sheep, is chickens. But I haven't actually seen any chickens, so let's see if I can find any. But I'd need to make a pen for the chickens. There's a chicken right there. There's one. But I might want to do chickens differently anyway, because I like having... What I might do, because we have a lot of iron, is I might make... I like putting chickens on... I like putting chickens on top of hoppers so that you can collect all their eggs. I like doing that. It's kind of weird, but it's what I like doing. But yeah, I need to move this over one, and that means I have to. Okay, so we have a lot of dirt right now, though, so it's not like we have a shortage of dirt to do this with. Yeah, so, like, the chickens, I kind of want to do differently, because I kind of want to put the chickens on, like, a hopper or something so that I can get all their eggs, and we can make lots of, pumpkin pie and cake. And also possibly other chickens if we hatch them, if we crack them. But yeah, so I might just put the chickens... I think I'm actually going to put the chickens somewhere else. I might put them inside my base or something, because I want to do them differently to begin with. So I think that will be a good idea in general, is to just put the chickens somewhere else. Like, we can keep the big animals outside and the chickens can go inside. That means we'll have to, like, get them inside. Or maybe we can just put the chickens outside for a little bit until we get enough eggs and then just transport eggs inside. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm just going to put them inside to begin with. So I'm going to have to get them inside and hopefully find more than one. But even if I just find one, then we just need to bring the one inside, and then we can... blue screen. We can blue screen apparently. No, we can put them inside, and then we can, you know, get eggs from them and hatch the egg. If we only have one, we can get eggs, and then we just need to wait until one of the eggs gets a chicken. And that's how we get our second chicken. And yeah. Okay. What do I need? I came down here for something. I don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna hide and use the bathroom. Hopefully I don't die here, but it's paused, and it's definitely not paused. The water's still moving. That means that they've chosen that the pause menu doesn't actually pause, so I'll go out to the quick menu, and that's how we know that it's paused.